The small village of Willow Creek was known for its beautiful gardens, quiet streets, and friendly people. Yet among all the cheerful faces, there was one man who rarely smiled. His name was Ethan. Every morning, Ethan walked to work with his head down, avoiding eye contact. He believed life had been unfair to him. His father had passed away when he was young, his family struggled with money, and every dream he had ever chased seemed to slip away. He often thought, what difference would one smile make in a world full of problems? People stopped trying to talk to him because they expected silence. Children who once waved at him eventually gave up. Even the neighbors began to believe Ethan simply didn't like anyone. One rainy evening, Ethan found an old notebook while cleaning his late grandmother's room. Between its yellow pages was a handwritten sentence. Never underestimate the power of one sincere smile. It may become the beginning of someone's miracle. Ethan smiled sarcastically. Just a smile, Grandma, if only life were that simple. He closed the notebook and placed it on the shelf. The next morning, while waiting for the bus, he noticed an elderly woman struggling to carry 2 heavy grocery bags. Without thinking, he walked over and helped her. As he handed the bags back, she looked into his eyes. Thank you, young man. For the first time in weeks, Ethan smiled. It wasn't a big smile. Just a small one. The old woman's face immediately lit up. My husband passed away last year, she whispered. Today is the first day someone has smiled at me. Her words stayed with Ethan all day. Could one smile really matter that much? The following morning, Ethan decided to experiment. He smiled at the bus driver. The driver looked surprised before smiling back. Good morning. Nothing extraordinary happened, but somehow the ride felt lighter. At work, Ethan smiled at the security guard. The guard laughed. Finally, I thought you forgot how. Later that afternoon, the guard introduced Ethan to another department looking for an employee with his skills. It wasn't a promotion, but it was an opportunity. Weeks passed. Ethan continued smiling, not because life was perfect, but because he wanted to see what would happen. He smiled at the cashier. She smiled at the customer behind him. That customer smiled at his little daughter. The little girl laughed so loudly that everyone in the store smiled too. A chain reaction had begun. One afternoon, Ethan noticed a teenage boy sitting alone in the park with tears in his eyes. Normally, Ethan would have walked away. Instead, he smiled gently. You okay? The boy hesitated before speaking. My parents are divorcing. For over an hour they talked. Months later, the boy returned. I almost gave up that day, he admitted. But your smile made me think maybe someone cared. Ethan realized he hadn't changed the boy's problems. He had simply reminded him he wasn't alone. As the seasons changed, people around Willow Creek noticed something unusual. The town itself felt happier. Neighbors greeted one another. Shop owners welcomed customers warmly. Children played together more often. Even arguments seemed shorter. A local teacher named Emma became curious. She asked her students to perform a simple challenge. Smile at one person every day for 30 days. The children loved the idea. One student smiled at the school janitor every morning. The janitor later confessed he had been feeling invisible for years. Another student smiled at her shy classmate. Soon they became best friends. One smile became a friendship. A friendship became confidence. Confidence became success. Meanwhile, Ethan's own life slowly transformed. His coworkers enjoyed working with him. His manager trusted him with bigger responsibilities. Customers specifically asked for his help. Within a year, Ethan received the promotion he had wanted for years. But something inside him had changed far more than his career. He no longer measured success by money. He measured it by lives touched. One cold winter evening, Ethan visited the hospital to see the elderly woman he had first helped. She was weak but smiling. I've been waiting for you, she whispered. She handed him a folded letter. If one smile changed my day, imagine how many lives yours will change. A week later, she peacefully passed away. Ethan carried her words in his heart. Inspired by her memory, he started a community project called One Smile. The idea was simple. No money, no donations, just one genuine smile every day. At first, people laughed. Can a smile really change the world? Ethan never argued. He simply smiled. Soon local cafes placed signs saying, your smile might be someone's hope today. Schools joined the campaign. Hospitals joined. Police officers joined. Bus drivers joined. Thousands of smiles traveled through the town every single day. Years later, journalists visited Willow Creek. Crime had decreased. Volunteer work had increased. Neighbors trusted each other more than ever. When reporters asked what caused such remarkable change, everyone gave different answers. But almost every story somehow began with a smile. One afternoon, Ethan met a young businessman named Daniel. Daniel looked exhausted. "My company is failing. My marriage is falling apart. I don't think I can keep going." Ethan listened quietly. Then he smiled. Not a fake smile. Not a forced smile. A sincere smile that said, "I believe you can survive this." Daniel later admitted that moment gave him enough courage to ask for help instead of giving up. Years later, Daniel rebuilt his business and created jobs for hundreds of families. When interviewed on television, he said, "The turning point wasn't a business strategy. It was one stranger who smiled when I had forgotten hope existed." As Ethan grew older, his hair turned gray, but his smile never faded. Children who had once received his smile became teachers, doctors, firefighters, artists, and parents. Many of them unknowingly passed that kindness to others. One spring morning, Ethan sat beneath the same tree where he had comforted the crying teenager years ago. A little girl approached him carrying flowers. "Are you Mr. Ethan?" He nodded. "My grandma told me to give these to you. She said years ago, you smiled at her when Grandpa died. It helped her believe tomorrow would be okay." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He barely remembered that moment. For him, it had lasted only seconds. For someone else, it had lasted a lifetime. As the sun began to set, Ethan opened his grandmother's old notebook once again. The same sentence waited on the first page. Never underestimate the power of one sincere smile. It may become the beginning of someone's miracle. This time, he understood every word. Life doesn't always change because of grand speeches, expensive gifts, or dramatic moments. Sometimes, it changes because someone chooses kindness when the world expects indifference. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give costs nothing at all. One smile can calm fear. One smile can restore hope. One smile can begin a friendship. One smile can save a heart that feels invisible. And the beautiful truth is this: you may never know whose life changes because of the smile you give today. So smile, not because life is perfect, but because your smile might become the light that helps someone else keep walking. The power of one smile is never measured in seconds. It is measured in the lives it quietly transforms, one heart at a time.